One downside of not having a cameraman is you really can't film all the cool run and gun stuff, but that really hasn't stopped me from using cinematic music pretty much ever, and I'm still going to use it. I think it's probably a good idea to run 4 supersonics. They're 115 grainers, and then I'll run 4 147 grain subsonics and then 4 165 grain subsonics, all with the can on, so you can get a feel for the difference. I will probably run them all on steel. I think you'll still be able to hear just fine what the difference is in the resonance and the actual performance of the can to suppress sound, maybe even a little spark. I don't know if you'll catch it in the background here. And I'm definitely wearing hearing protection for these supersonics because it's quieter, but it's not totally hearing safe. All right, there was 4 supers. Here's the 147s. Those are hearing safe. I'm almost 100% sure those are hearing safe. And 165s. Yeah, that's pretty significant. Can's not even warm. Not even warm to the touch. It's still cold. I should probably use a microphone for this. The can is still cold to the touch. It's not even warm. And it is like, it's 30 degrees out, which is pretty warm for Minnesota. Maybe that's cold for a lot of you, but normally cans do warm up within like 20 shots or so. They feel at least room temperature, but this one has not been hot and it hasn't even warmed up yet. So that titanium is actually pretty impressive. I think it's a little bit more temperature resistant than I thought it would be. It's just not getting blazing hot. No mirage whatsoever. All right, I've got my 10 rounder loaded up here, and I'm just going to shoot a couple with no can on, and then I'll put the can on and shoot at least 5. I did a little test back and forth already, and I am elated, absolutely elated. I didn't think that a can with this size opening on it would actually be able to perform this well with a 5.56 gun. I just didn't think that it would work out that well. I'm going to be honest with you, I had seen somebody else's video that was a little pessimistic about this concept and just maybe speaking out of ignorance, because actually the difference is significant, and there's quite a reduction in decibels, quite a bit. And this is a very efficient can on this gun, and it's not gassy. I'm not going to shoot it with glasses on for this just to demonstrate that. So I'll do 2 with it unsuppressed and then at least 5 suppressed to show you some of the difference here. And I'll probably keep my microphone on so you can hear some of the resonance difference, and then keep the wind sound out because it's quite windy. That's a massive difference. That is worth it just for that right there. And the versatility of a can like this in 35, the ability to use it across many platforms and just switch out the threaded cap here, the direct thread adapters that you can get for this. This is a really versatile can. Very happy. All right, I've got my AnechoX 35 caliber can on here on my Ruger breakdown carbine or takedown carbine, whatever they call these things. PC carbine, probably get the name right. And these are 165 grain Freedom munitions. They're subsonics. I'll go ahead and turn my mic off, run a few of these. I'm almost 100% sure these are going to be hearing safe. All right, here we go. All right, so that was hearing safe for me. I didn't have ears on. I just had my hat over my ears, and that was plenty enough. I was actually next to a metal shed, like I'm really close to a metal shed. And even shooting next to the metal shed, the resonance and the sound was not overwhelming. It wasn't sharp to my ears. I would actually say if I was in a more open space, just even standing 10 feet over that way, I think it would have been even more pleasant, but it wasn't bad at all. As far as first round crack goes, I didn't really notice. I'll have to go back and look at the footage, maybe listen to it a couple more times. I didn't notice much of a first round crack, and this thing weighs next to nothing, so my point of impact down there is either negligible or none. I was holding the same spot, shooting at a clay pigeon at about 115 yards, and so I didn't actually notice a change of impact. It was pretty much the same as before. I am using a red dot, not a scope, so bear with me because I'm going to try this out on other precision rifles and see what point of impact change is like. But with this O-Sight X, which they just sent out to the channel, thank you, O-Sight, for sending that out, I noticed that on this carbine, it was every bit as accurate, and the performance was just like before, except for now I can shoot it without ears on, or hearing protection, which is really, really cool. I'll still wear eyes, and it's not because this is super gassy. This platform, this system, isn't super gassy from what I can tell. I'm not an expert in that. I'll probably have a lot more to say after the first couple thousand rounds through the rifle, or with the can on different rifles. But as far as I can tell, it's super quiet. The flow is good. It seems to empty the can out relatively quickly, and so it's not overly gassy. It's definitely not pushing me around a lot. I feel like there's not as much resistance as there are with some of those really closed up cans. There is a sufficient amount coming out, and I can see when it was smoking out the end there that it is pushing plenty of gas out still. Yet sound suppression is there. Super, super light can, didn't loosen up. I'm really happy with that. That was probably one of my biggest hopes for this can, is that I would be able to run it on 9mm in general and not have a really heavy can for like pistols, because I'm gonna have to throw the a little adapter on there for my pistol, or the what do you call it, component that allows for some flip on the barrel angle. I'm going to have to add that on there, so any bit of weight on a pistol just makes it harder to shoot. So on my pistols, I don't think I'm going to have trouble with this, and certainly not on this rifle. I don't even notice the weight. The PC carbine is already a little bit of a chunky boy, and I just didn't even notice any weight with this on there. It is so incredibly light, and it's really nice to be able to have a can that I can quickly direct thread and doesn't get overly hot. In the winter, I'm really surprised. I wasn't getting any mirage. I wasn't seeing any heat. I could touch it as soon as I was done with that. I'm sure if I did a 30 rounder pretty hot and fast, it would start to warm up even in the winter here in Minnesota. But I'm excited to see what the performance is like with this on warmer days, because today so far is just nothing. There's no heat at all. It wasn't even warm. It was still cold to the touch, which is impressive for such a lightweight titanium baffled can. Warbird Pro has been an awesome supporter of my channel for a long time now. These are their Intrepid BTs, Bluetooth compatible, they're rechargeable, and I think it's really cool. But today I don't need those, because I'm going to be showing you the new 35 from Anecho. This is their AnechoX 35. It's sitting on my Ruger PC carbine in 9mm. I've got some 165 grain loaded up in here. That's from Freedom Munitions. And I've got some targets here at 25. And I'm going to give you a chance just to see from your angle a little bit what the sound suppression is like with this can. I'm very, very happy. And you'll notice I don't need ears for this. But I am going to put on eye protection because I still like those. That's pretty quiet. It's really quiet. Let's take the can off so you can see what it's like with the can off now. And just because I know there's still going to be a significant pop and crack with that, I'm going to throw those warbirds back on. That is substantially louder with a can off. There's no doubt about it. This can is extremely effective, and having a can that can suppress 9mm well is really, really practical nowadays. Now the PC carbine is already a little bit of a fat boy. It's kind of a chunky boy, and it's a little heavy, maybe a little bit barrel heavy or front heavy on this one. And so I didn't need extra weight on there. I wanted a lightweight can for that one reason. I just don't want it to be cumbersome and uncomfortable. Didn't want an extra long can. Didn't need it for 9mm suppressed. And a lot of you, if you're looking at getting into a centerfire can, I think this is what I would lean towards recommending for you. Now that I've tried out a bunch of stainless cans and heavy duty cans and then some of the lightweight cans, I feel like this one wins for versatility. It's absolutely one of the lightest on the market. It's got to be in the top few for the lightest. And then the temperature rating is still pretty good. And I find that it actually suppresses well without getting a lot of gas back in my face. So I've probably already mentioned all that. But if you're just thinking through it, trying to figure out what should my first can be, I actually started a debate in the comment section once on one of my videos, I think. So I asked people, what's the first can that you should get? Is it a 22 can or is it a centerfire can? And you know what? People are split about 50-50. I probably would have said rimfire a while ago because I've run rimfire cans and they're very effective, and rimfire suppressed is just amazing. But now that I've run the AnechoX 35 on multiple different platforms, multiple different rifles, and I'm seeing that it doesn't heat up really bad, not too quickly, it just performs well. I don't know. This is such a cross-platform capable, cross-caliber capable can. I think I might be leaning towards this one now. So normally in the wintertime, it's just cumbersome. I got to put the ears on. I got to fold my hat over. It's just kind of annoying. I guess it's not that big of a deal, but it's kind of annoying. And I really like being able to run just this can with those 165s. They're not more expensive, not really more expensive than other 9mm, and not even warm, by the way, guys. It is winter, but not even warm. Like to the touch, it's still a little bit chilly. I can't believe that. I've shot titanium cans before with just even 10 rounds, and the cans have been hot to the touch, but I wasn't getting any mirage. My optic, this is the O-Sight X that O-Light sent out to my channel, and it sits a little bit above, but I would be seeing some mirage typically with a lot of other cans. This one is not too bad at all. I actually don't see any mirage whatsoever, and I did a mag dump earlier to see if I could heat it up. I wasn't getting anything out of this. Really like how the gases are getting pushed through, but there's enough of a delay. The system and the way that the baffles are set up with that delay, it really seems to time out right. And when I took apart the can, it was really easy still to break it down with the included tools. That's what I mean. Versatility, it's stupid proof. It's good for a newbie or somebody who has been shooting cans for a long time. I see a lot of advantages to this can. And I feel like the biggest thing I need to do now is buy a lot of ammo. A lot of subsonic 9mm. It's so fun. Maybe I shouldn't have had my camera quite so close. Don't know that was super beneficial for the lenses. Well, I'm at 627 yards. It's not too cold out. Unfortunately, my camera doesn't agree with me. My camera is going to die because it is always too cold for my camera, it seems like. And I'm going to just shoot on a 2/3 size IPSC with this little gas gun. Just going to find out if my point of impact is any different. I don't think it's going to be much different, if at all. I've seen really good numbers, and the point of impact at closer distances, like 200, 300 yards, was negligible. Hard to tell if there's any change at all, actually. So I'll go ahead and run a few of these We'll see what happens. I don't have a camera facing downrange right now. I will in the future to show you more of that. Right now, I'm mostly just testing for my own sanity and consistency's sake to see what happens. Quick shout out to Alacritas Innovations. They sent out this rear support, which is so nice. It's really great to have a consistent rear rest that is macro and micro adjustable. Gets me exactly where I need to be and kind of alleviates some of the problems you get with holding a squeeze bag and the fatigue that you'll experience after shooting for a full day. Okay, so it took me a couple shots to get on a clay pigeon at 625, which isn't surprising with 223 guns and kind of like bulk hollow point boat tail match 77 grain. It usually takes me a few anyways, but now I should be able to rock that steel silhouette like pretty much every time. I'll try that out. Point of impact shift is negligible, maybe a tenth or two. I don't have a lot of wind to be working against me right now. Mostly it seems like it's right where it should be. With this, I'm not getting a bunch of gas in the face. It's actually very pleasant. I don't think I'm getting any gas in the face, to be honest with you. It seems to be flowing through properly, and I'm very happy to see that the can is not crazy hot. I'm not getting mirage off of it. It's warm. It's definitely warm to the touch. After that many shots of 2,900 feet per second, 60, or no, is it 69 or 77? 77 grain. Yeah, it's warm to the touch, but it's not hot and no mirage. I'm not seeing any through the optic, and even with my naked eye right now, hardly anything off the top. So that's very good to see because typically I don't do shot strings more than 10 rounds that hot. Just a simple thing of opening up my action to allow some air to blow through with that wind. It cools that can down so fast. Like, I don't know, it feels like it's twice as fast. And it probably is twice as fast as a big stainless thick can that holds the heat longer. These titanium cans rock, man. I'm so happy. And the sound suppression is actually pretty significant. When I take the can on and off, and I'm sure I've shown lots of demonstrations by this point in the video, but when I take the can on and off, it's just a really big difference. Not just the concussion, but the actual sound suppression. And I understand the bullet is still cracking in the air. It's still breaking the sound barrier. I know how that works. I'm just saying, locally here and standing behind the rifle or sitting behind the rifle, it's very pleasant to shoot. And I'm not getting a bunch of smoke back in the face. I'm going to try to maybe just focus back here on the ejection port side here and show you that there's hardly anything coming out. That is so cool. I can't believe how consistent it is with the can on. Just almost no change. If anything, I might be shooting better today with the can on than I usually am. I really like that. Okay, so I don't advise this for other people to do or try, but I just had to know what's it like to have the ears off completely and shoot this. And I'll shoot one round suppressed with this, 2,900 foot per second round. It's the Freedom Munition 77. And actually, it's pretty bearable. It's really not sharp at all. It does a really great job of taking some of that concussion as well as the sharpness of the immediate localized expansion of gas out of the end of the barrel. I'm not hearing much of that. And so I'll just do one just to show you that it is not piercing. It's not shocking. It's actually, man, it's really not bad at all. I don't know how else to say it. I'm in a big wide open area. That helps for sure. But as far as my ears, they're not ringing after I shoot this. All right, here we go. I can't get over how pleasant that is to shoot. Like, that's downright normal. I know it's loud out there, and I know the action is happening, and that's mostly what I'm hearing. It is not bad at all. That's with a screaming fast round. I think with slower rounds, it'd be even more pleasant, but still wear your hearing protection. I'm not recommending doing that. I'm just saying, if you were hunting with this, yes, it absolutely is going to knock down some of the sound and the report in the immediate area. If you're shooting in the woods, you're still going to get a loud echo, so you should wear something to protect your ears, but this will help probably not annoy the neighbors so much, and it's not going to be so concussive to you or not so sharp to your ear for sure. There's another cold front blowing in from the north right now. It's going to be sub-zero in a few hours. And it's already pretty cold, actually. Snow is coming in. I probably should be heading home, honestly, but I'm just really enjoying these cans. You know, part of my game and the way that I get enthusiastic about guns is precision. It's something I enjoy. I'm not the best PRS shooter out there. I'm not the best NRL 22 shooter out there, but I do enjoy precision. And I really don't want to add something to my gun if I don't have to, and I don't want to add something to my gun if it takes away from precision. And I'm so happy to report that my experience so far has been that these cans have not taken away. In fact, I feel like on a couple rifles, they're actually performing just a touch more consistently or better. On one particular pistol, it actually seems to shoot tighter, which is interesting with the can on. I'm not promising those results for anybody out there. I'm just saying for me personally, I'm very, very pleased to see that the point of impact is hardly touched on these, and the capability for precision is still there. It's not going to take it away, and my usual loads are still precise, and I'm not having like massive groups. You know, I'm not getting an opening up of group size, which I don't know, that's almost a deal breaker for me, but I'm not getting any of that, and I'm really, really pleased by that. That's pretty cool. All right, so that time I was able to heat up the can pretty good. I noticed the most minimal amount of mirage coming off there. It was very, very small, and honestly, the can cools off so quickly. I'm really happy about that. Just, I don't know, 30 seconds, a minute later, and it is really cold out, it's true. But like a minute later, the thing is cool to the touch, and so I can get back on it again. That was after 20 pretty hot rounds with some double taps in there, so I'm kind of impressed. One more thing that is important, the can has not moved from here. It hasn't loosened up at all. And that's been true of each platform I put it on. I don't find this backing off on its own. I actually heard one person say something cool about the end cap, that the way that the reliefs are cut into this, that technically the air is pushing against in the correct direction to tighten the cap. So the cap is never going to just loosen up on its own and back out, probably because there's a sufficient amount of pressure pushing the cap in the right direction. So that's brilliant. I don't know if they're the first company to do that. I don't know enough about suppressors yet, but either way, it's a really good idea, and it seems to make a lot of sense. I've had several thousand rounds through this can now, and one thing that I'm very happy to report is it was really easy to break down. As I took down the can, everything came out pretty well. It is dirty. It's definitely dirty, and I still haven't cleaned it yet. I intend to do that pretty quick, but for a couple thousand rounds, I'm actually impressed with how much is getting blasted out with this 223. There's just not a lot in there compared to what I thought there would be after shooting a lot of subsonic 9mm. And no baffle strikes, nothing concerning at all. Just really, really pleasantly surprised and pleased with this suppressor. I think you would be too. So as much as I like my big heavy rifles, I actually really appreciate lightweight rifles, and more so I trend towards stuff like this that is very, very light. It's easy to pack. It doesn't have a huge footprint. Like I said, they do have a longer version of a lot of their cans, and I'm really happy with this short one. I can't imagine how much better it must be with a long one. If that's your flavor and you don't mind a slightly longer footprint, I think you'll be very, very happy with the decibel reduction, and also just a very favorable flow through still with gases. And basically it's not going to add a lot of weight at all, just knocking down some decibels, a little bit more length. But I'm going to tell you, I'm so happy with the footprint of this. I like shooting 20 inchers. They're fun. It's still light enough that I'll actually take it with me places and maybe do some hunting. And as you can see here, this overall package is easy to pack around and hike with, and it's not as light as some of the carbon fiber stuff, but I'll still take it with me personally. One more shout out to Osight, Olight, for sending out their Osights. I have the S, which I already have a review on, and then I have the X here on the 9mm. Really, really great rechargeable sights. I like the reticles quite a bit. Cool features overall. Watch this review. I think this is probably getting hit pretty hard in the reviews right now because of one guy who managed to break one, but that hasn't been my experience, and I really like these. I think they deserve more attention than they get. Now, in closing, I do recommend these, and I need to be very honest about something. I don't want to be coming off as if I think I'm an expert in sound suppression or cans. I'm not, and I know that about myself. I'm basically a newbie to cans. But the fact that I found cans that don't dramatically change my point of impact, they're lightweight, they're not super gassy, they don't push so much back, but they do allow for some flow through, and they're affordable. I mean, that's kind of the dream can. The versatility of a can like this is going to fit so many people who are just like me. They're not experts in cans, and they don't need perfect sound suppression, and they don't need 100% flow through, and they don't need a can that's rated for full auto, perhaps, of 900 rounds or whatever. They just don't need those things. This is so much more practical. And the AnechoX series, this 35, the 22 can, I'm very, very pleased with them. And it just made my guns that much more friendly to shoot. My family, my friends are going to enjoy shooting this more. My kids, as they get a little bit older, are going to enjoy shooting more because this takes some of that intimidation away, especially for my female friends who are kind of sensitive or have a large flinch response to loud sounds. I don't have to wear the ears with these and the particular loads I'm shooting. And even when I'm shooting supersonics through this are still reduced in that sound signature so much. And also the actual signature at the end of the barrel. Not a lot of visibility there, not a lot of fire coming out. I think these are probably the best deal in the market, and I don't want to be extra wordy and try to say a lot of things that I don't know about. I just want to tell you the truth. I like these a lot. I think they're very high quality, and I agree with Buck, one of the engineers, lead engineers. Something he told me is, yes, you might find a can that weighs like an ounce less. You might find a can that can do full auto for 800 rounds, and you might find a can that suppresses by 1 decibel more, but you're not going to find all that this can offers at the price point. And he's 100% right. I think that's truthful and honest, and customers need to know that this is probably the best, most well-rounded package you're going to find. And if you can afford to get maybe one more thread on there, you can do your 5/8, you can do your half, I can do 30 cal, and then I can do 22 stuff and 9mm. And it just covers most of the stuff that we're going to be shooting. and makes it more pleasant. So thank you to AnechoX for sending these out. This is not my official review. It's not my final thoughts on this. I will have a lot more to say after I have more expertise and practice with these and experience with across the platforms, different systems. I'll say a lot more in that further video. This was just a first look to let you guys know that this is an offering that's out there, and already my experience has been really, really good. Still cold.